Hey there you guys. So in this video I'm going to be doing a fire alarm comparison here with two multi-tone fire alarms. So the one on the left is the Gentex GOS and the one on the right is the Wheelock MT24 LSM. So yeah, they're both multi-tone fire alarms, which means you can change the tones. It can be set to different tones, like, code 3, continuous, siren, whoop, high, low, and all that. So yeah. So yeah, they both do look similar, and as for the Gentex GOS and the Wheelock MTs, the thing that's kind of funny about the GOS is that it looks like it's a blaring loud alarm because of the way how the sounder is designed and stuff. That's kind of big and bulky and stuff. It looks like it's going to be a very loud fire alarm, but it turns out that it's not actually that loud if it's on low volume. Whereas for the Wheelock MT, even though it doesn't look blaring loud, it's really loud, even on low volume. So yeah, that's what's kind of interesting about these two fire alarms in comparison. So I guess the Gentex GOS could be, you know, thoughtful that you should never judge a fire alarm by its appearance of how loud it is. Like when people see this design of fire alarm, they're gonna think, oh, that's gonna be a super loud fire alarm. Because look how the way it's designed, especially with the way how the speakers design all that stuff, it's gonna be super loud. But it turns out that it's actually not that loud at all. Whereas for the Wheelock MTs, it doesn't look all intimidating, but it turns out to be very loud. So that's what's kind of interesting. So yeah. So they both have the same vertical design strobe, they do look similar, but except this one's got the ridges on the top and bottom, whereas this one doesn't. But I guess that's okay. They still both look pretty cool, and yeah. And of course, it has the part with the fire ring on the Wheelock MT is white with the red fire lettering, and this one part is red with the white fire lettering. So yeah. So yeah, same thing on the other side as well, and the Gentex GOS has already screws shown to where if you want to mount it on a 4x4 back box, whereas for the MT you have to use a flathead screwdriver to pry open these covers right here, which can be a pain in the butt. But yeah, of course, if you have a smaller Phillips screw, you can actually poke it in the back and kind of knock it out, and it will and this part will pop out. So yeah, so here's the back of these. So they are a bit different, and they are both 4-wire. But for the Gentex GOS, it has these jumpers on it, so it's actually a 2-wire along with these two jumpers on the both sides right here. Whereas for the MT, you have to have jumper wires in order to run it on a 2-wire for a 4-wire alarm. So yeah, and the multi-tone selections on the MT is a lot easier because it has dip switches right here where I can just easily use my thumb to change the selection of the tone that I wanted to set on. Whereas for the GOS, it has jumpers where I have to use a needle nose pliers to, let's say if I want to move it from jumper 3 from a certain tone to jumper 2, and I have to line it up and push it in there, which it can be a pain in the butt. And the thing with jumpers is that you can definitely lose these easily, so I'd recommend that you get a small plastic bag to set them in to store them, that way you don't lose them. So yeah, and of course the screws terminals on the GOS are flathead right here, and for the MTs are Phillips head, which you can also use the flathead on these screws right here, because you can see how one line is longer than the other, which means it can both be used for both flat and Phillips head screwdriver, which is pretty cool. But for me personally, I prefer the Phillips head because it's just easier to align with than the flat head. So yeah. So I guess I'll go ahead and give you guys a demonstration. So yeah. So I'm gonna start with the MT first. I got my flathead screwdriver with me. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get it hooked up. So hold on a second. So yeah, so there we go. So I have the MT that's hooked up. I'm not sure which tone is selected on, so I guess I'll find out and see, and then I'll change it to other different tones. Just different tones. So here we go. Ooh, that was on a continuous tone, so that must have been loud. But it's a good thing I was wearing earplugs, because yeah, that thing was pretty darn loud. So I'm gonna set it to another tone. So let's see what this one will be. So yeah, I'll do one more tone, maybe one or two more tones on this. So I have both of the dip switches down. So let's see. I think that one's probably a high-low or a siren. I'm not sure. So yeah, and I guess one more. So. Oops. That was already the same tone from before. So yeah, that was March time. So yeah. So now I'll go ahead and once I get it unhooked from the once I get it unwired, I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate the GOS. So yeah, that was the demonstration of the Wheelock MT. So now I'll go ahead and show you guys a demonstration of the Gentex GOS. If I can find a flathead screwdriver, which I put in here somewhere. There's one. So yeah. So yeah, I got the GOS hooked up. So yeah, so let's see how this one will sound. Set it closer to middle over here. There we go. So here we go. Hopefully you guys can hear me, because it's definitely a lot less louder than the MT. So yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another jumper since I found one on the shelf. So I have two jumpers in it. So let's see. So I put you know, the one that says jumper 2, that was already on there first, and then I put the one on jumper 3. So let's see how this one sounds. It's not too loud. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I mean, it's a little bit loud, but definitely a lot less louder than the MT. I'm gonna remove jumper 3. So yeah, I have to use those pliers to remove it. So yeah. See that what it sounds like? Oh, that was already there. Oh, I've already removed that one. I forgot about. Maybe I'll put it on jumper 1 this time and see what that one sounds like. Yeah, it's pain in the butt. So these tweezers. Jumper 1. Here we go. Yeah, it's not tweezers. I meant my those pliers. That one's a delay code 3, which I'm not a big fan of. So even though code 3 is my favorite tone, but the one with the delay like this one, I'm personally not a fan of, because I just think it kind of sounds weird with that delay for code 3. But yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if you guys heard me, but that one code 3 chime on the GOS that I just did does have a bit of a delay, and I'm personally not a big fan of it, because it just, to me, it just sounds weird. Like, I personally like the code 3 where it has like beep, 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 1, 2, 3, beep, like that. So yeah, the one with the delay code 3 like that, I'm personally am not a big fan of, because I just think it just sounds weird in my personal opinion. But yeah, I guess I'll do one more tone with it. And this time I'll remove all of it where it has no jumpers on it and see what that one sounds like. So yeah. But yeah, I'm not gonna do an all. I mean, I'll do another video of an all tones test sometime in the future, but I'm not sure when. But yeah. But anyways, one more tone for the GOS. So here we go. That would just sound like a crasher, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that was my video comparison of the Gentex GOS and the Wheelock MTs. I think they're both really great alarms, but I guess for my personal opinion, I do like the GOS a little bit better, because it just has like more unique tones, and it's definitely, I mean, it's still a little bit loud, but definitely a lot quieter than the Wheelock MTs, because the Wheelock MTs is very loud. It's, and like I said, it's kind of weird and funny how the Gentex GOS looks all intimidating because of this big, huge sounder thing that looks like it's going to be blaring loud, but it turns out to be not so loud. But as for the Wheelock MTs, it doesn't look all intimidating, but it's very, very loud. So yeah, that's what's kind of, interesting and, a bit weird. But yeah, but they're both great alarms. I do like them. If you're able to find either one of them for a good price, you should definitely get them. They're very easy to wire up. So yeah. But yeah, and I guess the thing that I like about the MT better is that the it has dip switches instead of jumpers, where I can easily just use my thumb or my finger to flip it, which I mostly use my thumb to change the tones of it. Whereas for the GOS, I have to you know, use like a needle nose pliers like this to push. I mean, I can use my finger to push it on there, but to take it out, I have to use the needle nose pliers, which it can be a pain in the butt. So, and yeah, you can definitely lose these easily. So I would highly recommend that you put them in a plastic bag. That way, just so you don't lose them. But yeah, I wish they would change it where the Gentex GOS has dip switches like the MT. That way, it makes it easier to change tones. And same thing where they changed it the terminals to Phillips head, because I personally prefer Phillips head better than flathead because it's just easier to line up than flathead. But yeah, but it's still a great alarm. I really do like it a lot. I have another one that's in a box on my shelf, so I have two of them because yeah, they're pretty rare and a bit pricey. So, but yeah, I'll definitely see if I can get myself another one sometime. But yeah, but anyways, I hope you guys liked the video. Let me know in the comments which one you like better. So yeah, hope you guys liked the video. Thank you all for watching and stay tuned for more.